This is Vic Patel with Craft Express.
My name is Ashley from Artistry.
It's Gavin, founder, creator of Seps.io, and you're listening to
Two Regular Guys podcast,
Hosted by
Terry Combs RG, regular guy,
and Aaron Montgomery.
The place to be for industry news.
The best dad jokes on earth, along with relevant topics to apparel decorators.
Prepare for the ride.
All right, welcome into the show. It is Friday, June 28th, 2024. I'm Terry Combs, and you can find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery with our Success Group, and my mission is to inspire you to fall deeper in love with your business, building those foundations and overcoming that overwhelm. So that's what we love to do over at OSG. Here on Two Regular Guys, we love to educate and bring you some information, and that's what we're going to do here today, Terry. As you guys might be able to tell, my background, for those that are watching live or catching the video version, podcast versions, it's just like I'm back home. But I am in Hilton Head, what is that, South Carolina, I guess? Yeah, South Carolina. And enjoying a little break between my crazy travel that I've had over the last week or so here. I'm running out of cars, so
You're just leaving them along the way, right, at the repair shops. And
that's what it feels like these days. Yeah. So if you see me on the side of the road, just pick me up, please. Okay.
My roommate from college, from the old Sigma Nu house, lives in Hilton Head. So his warning would be watch out for the alligators, because there are some.
I did see a TikTok about that the other day, and my wife sent it over. I'm like, yep, I'm out. The beach is right there. I'm going to be in the sand, but the water, there's a pool right here too. So that'll be my water for this little. All right. Well, Terry, we do have a great show today scheduled for you guys. We've got Quentin Smith joining us. He's going to help us try to kind of decipher, decode what UV DTF technology. And, it's something that we've been hearing a lot about lately, and something that I use quite regularly as far as like actually the prints themselves. Like, here's my notebook I've been carrying around. This is UV DTF. And, but how it works, right? We don't know a whole lot about that yet. Yeah. And I know you get a lot of questions about it too, Terry.
I do. And, it's funny. It's like 3 years ago when you said, hey, what do you know about DTF printing? And I said, well, I don't know. What is it? I think that the UV DTF is in the same category for a lot of folks right now. And it is all the buzz. That's for sure. So we're really excited to have a conversation with Quentin today. Aaron, also make sure we stay to the very end for the helping of secret sauce. Eric is cooking up a very special secret sauce about communicating color in embroidery. So if you've ever struggled with customers and color matches with thread, these tips should suit your taste. So we'll get to see Eric sharing Eric in the kitchen.
Yes, got Eric in the kitchen cooking it up. So we're looking forward to that. Apologize if my internet's a little bit wonky from here and there, so I'll try not to talk over you too much, Terry. But also want to just give a quick shout out to Becky Kotzer. She connected us with Quentin before the show. You guys actually maybe connected before that, but we were looking for somebody that knew about UV DTF, and Becky's like, you got to talk to Quentin. He's the guy. And so we're excited to talk to him here this morning, Terry. So
absolutely.
All right.
So
well,
we have some news items we want to talk about.
Yeah, we do have a little bit of news items. Now, normally we would turn the floor over to one of our intrepid folks from the magazines and other sources. Adrienne from DTFprinting.com has sent us some leaks, but we don't have her with us. She's traveling right now. So stay tuned. I'm sure she'll record something much better than what I share here. But for right now, let's just get a few things in front of you guys here real quick. So Sales Inc. launches cohort to help apparel shops grow their sales. They have applications are now open for the 3rd edition of the membership community. So there will be a link there to dtfprinting.com to go check that out. So I'm just reading the headlines here, guys, and then we'll have the the links there for you in the show notes as well. Next headline here: Women in Print Alliance hosts networking event at Printing United Expo. The Las Vegas trade show will offer multiple opportunities for women in the printing industry to connect, some networking stuff, some amazing stuff. In fact, I was just talking with Lizbeth, who is the liaison there at Printing United for the Women in Print Alliance. And we're going to have her on the show prior to the expo out there in Las Vegas. And I actually just spent a few days with Ann Crum, who is one of the founders of the Women in Print Alliance. So really cool stuff happening over there, and go check that out. Again, dtfprinting.com. You'll be able to find that headline. And then the next headline that Adrian shared with us is exhibitors and speaker applications are open for the DTF Expo 2025. If you want to apply today and secure your spot to be a speaker there in Mesa, Arizona, just east of Phoenix proper there. So it's not too far away from the airport, actually. And they'll be having that event. So again, dtfprinting.com is where you'll find that. And then not necessarily a headline that she had for us, but coming soon. And I'm not sure if it's up yet or not, but their second DTF printing t-shirt contest announcement will be live very, very soon. So check that out there, Terry. And yeah.
You know, Aaron, I went to the DTF Expo, the intro, the initial one here a couple of months ago, and man, it was packed, and all the seminars were in overflow. So they've really put together something pretty cool. Mesa, Arizona. You know, it's funny. I was watching a political election thing one time, and they were talking about the voting in Mesa, Arizona. It was the national news, Mesa, Arizona. And they said, no, it's a suburb of Phoenix. Now, understand, Mesa is larger than St. Louis. So just a little suburb there is not a little suburb.
Yeah, for sure. So yes, it's all part of what I would call the Phoenix metropolitan area, right? So
yeah,
they're all connected. Awesome. All right.
I don't know why they moved it further away from me that's possible, but because I live in the West Valley and Mesa is in the East Valley, so
that's what I always tried to explain to folks is like, okay, well, I know it's kind of in the Phoenix area, but you can go from one side to the next at freeway speeds, and it'll still take you an hour and a half to 2 hours.
You know, I had the Equipment Zone. Harry called me one time and said, "Hey, we have an install in Buckeye, Arizona. That's in the Phoenix area. Could you pick him up and drop him off over there at the location?" I'm like, "Oh, I could do that, but it's an hour from me. I live in Scottsdale. It's it's a little ways away. So
yeah,
no,
absolutely.
I'd rather not do that."
Yeah, exactly. All right, Terry. Well, let's talk to the folks that are tuned in here live with us this morning. We have Chuck Peterson saying good morning. Kristen, and just saw Kristen. She is probably just getting home. She had a late flight out of Atlanta last night. So thanks very much to Kristen for her support of Skills USA. She was amazing. All of the judges there were incredible. I guess I could give you a quick update on that, Terry, if you guys
Yeah, absolutely.
want. I know we got to get to Quentin here quickly, but yeah, so the reason I'm in Hilton Head is my son and I are on kind of this whirlwind 2.5-3 week trip here where the days are all running together for me. What's today? Friday? Yeah. So we do the show on Fridays, right?
Every week.
Yeah, the Skills USA had their national competition. It's at the Georgia World Congress Center in Atlanta, and it's 115 different competitions. So they've got everything from engine repair to HVAC to construction to photography was next to us, screen printing. Ours was the sublimation competition. So 115 different competitions. They take up the entire Georgia World Congress Center, which is one of the largest convention centers in the United States. So I think there was close to 8,000 students there, somewhere north of 30,000 people for the event in general. And we had a wonderful competition. We had 22 kids in the sublimation competition, and young people. They were amazing. We were really impressed. Some years you have a couple kids, you're like, have you done sublimation before? But this year it was a tough year to judge. So tons of help from Atlanta Vinyl and Unique Period Design Studio. They are local there, and they came out and helped. Kristen, who I mentioned, and Crum, Mark from Stalls. I had both David Gross and his daughter there. So getting to have kind of the guy that's written the book on sublimation there was a pretty neat experience for the kids. Who else am I missing? I know I'm missing somebody. Deborah from sewingmachine.com. Sewingmachine.com helped us out. Lewis from Mamaki was there. Not my Lewis, but my son Lewis was there too. Trading pens. So anyhow, I could talk about it forever. It was really awesome. Great support from lots of folks. Epson stepped up. The only call out, I guess, if I have to make a call out here, Terry, is if Sawgrass, if you guys are listening, I'm not sure if you're okay. Are you breathing? What's going on? Everybody I talk to is like, yeah, we can't get a hold of our reps. So anyhow, hopefully Sawgrass is okay. All right.
Well,
so that's a quick update there.
Many years ago. Maybe I should make a couple of calls.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I'm clicking buttons now, Eric. I'll stop. Doug says, good morning from St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands. What other notes did I miss here? Rena's checking in this morning. And David, being local to the DTF Printing Expo, he should probably apply to be a speaker there, I would say.
He should.
All right, I'm done, Terry. But we do have now. You've got a great dad joke for us, but I happen to find this in the home that I'm staying in, and so if you guys can see that, it says dad jokes. Sorry, Dad, you got to hear them too. A notepad with 365 days of dad jokes, and I'm not going to steal the thunder because yours is really good here, Terry. But this may not be here, so I'm just letting my friend Brian know. I might be taking your book, dude. So, right. Are you ready for the official dad joke, though?
I do. I do have a dad joke, so I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Aaron, did you know that 85% of Americans don't know how to do basic math?
I didn't hear that statistic, no.
Yeah, thank God I'm part of the other 25%. Okay, I can't.
There we go. Thank you, Eric.
Nice. All right. Before we dive in, we want to thank everybody for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. We need your voices still. We would love to have the regulators participate in our show intros. Go to decorators.ink./intro. Read a few lines and be a part of every show. Don't be left out. We are always looking for new guests like Quentin. If you or anyone you know would like to join us, go to calendly.com/2 regular guys to book a future episode, or email info@tworegularguys.com with your show ideas. If you are listening to the podcast version of the show, we would appreciate you sharing the Two Regular Guys podcast with all of your industry friends so they can become regulators too. And we would certainly appreciate you giving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, wherever you do your podcast listening. We would love to have a review. It really helps us out if you guys would go and do that. And if you are watching us live right now, please join in with your comments and your questions for Quentin.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, speaking of Quentin, are you ready, Terry?
Yeah, let's bring him on.
Okay. So welcome into the show, Quentin Smith. Quentin, hello. How are you doing there, sir?
Hey, I'm good. And yourself?
Oh, we are doing great, and we appreciate you spending some time with us. So we're going to dive right in here, sir. We've kind of done away with the cookie cutter bios, and great, awesome. We know that you're perfect. So what we want to know is just tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us the 101. Tell us how you kind of got into this space, and we'll get started here.
All right. Well, first off, thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciated the opportunity to talk with you and your listeners. And just know from the beginning that I will never lie to you on purpose. So we are. I am one to where I realize I don't know anything, so I'm constantly in the pursuit of knowledge. So that's what I do. So again, I thank you for letting me be able to share this information with you. About myself, like 20-some odd years worth of just leadership experience, supply chain and logistics, and actually education. So I've kind of fused all those things together. I started off, like I was telling Terry before, at the very beginning, I started off with a heat press, and then I moved to the Epson F2000, and he was one of the ones instrumental in actually kind of answer some questions for me with the Equipment Zone. And so I went from the direct to garment to embroidery with my print shop. I saw the need to get into DTF, and that's kind of like what got me here. I made an investment in some equipment. It wasn't quite ready for the market, so it was like a $35,000 hit, an investment that I keep it in the corner and I look at it. It's not anyone's fault. It wasn't ready just yet. And you're talking about 3 years ago. So from there, that got me into. I knew DTF was something I wanted to do because, again, I was buying transfers. I was spending almost close to $50,000 a year in just transfers from the various companies. So it was like, shit, I got to get a machine. So that caused me to start really just looking into different Chinese companies. Really started doing that. I surrounded myself with people who were smarter than me. We started with other engineers. They've done reverse engineering for Lexmark, for Canon, that type of deal. So I really have a really solid team. And I said, you know what? We're just going to start doing installations and training. That's going to kind of be where we're going to be at. We did dabble into kind of white label OEMing some a couple of our own machines, and they're doing very well. But it got us to the point where it's like, let's just be real about things. All of these machines are the same. All of them, right? You got a couple of different bells and whistles. And it was like, let's just be great at being there for the customers, getting them a great printer, great consumables, and just giving them real information. Not anything that I've learned from something, not something I just put into a Gemini or Chat GPT or something like that. Let's for real talk and let's see what's going on. Yeah. And a lot of money later, we're here, but it's a good spot. And I met a lot of great people on this journey. So.
That's awesome. I love that. That's a great story. And man, I tell you what, if more companies would focus on service, it would be a much better industry for us all. Aaron, when you said that about the bios, it reminded me of another dad joke. You're perfect 2 times in your life. The day you're born and the day you write your resume.
That's right. Bio is the same thing, right? Love it. Yeah, Quentin, that is a great story, and so grateful that you have that mentality, that mindset of just servicing your customers. Yeah, like Terry said, that's fantastic. All right, Terry. Well, we need to break down this UV DTF thing. I love it as a user, but I need to know how it works.
Yeah, 100%. And Quentin, most of our listeners are some type of decorator or hold some position in the industry as either supplier or a decorator. But I think everybody's heard of UV DTF, but don't necessarily understand what it is or how it works. So give us that rundown. What's UV DTF and how does it work?
So I'll give you the surface level, so we won't start talking about monomers and oligers and pigments and
let's not do that.
Initiators. We won't do that. So we'll start at the surface level. So bottom line, it's specially cured. It's UV inks, and they're applied onto a special UV film that has has adhesive resin on it, so it actually prints onto something sticky. It's cured instantaneously by a UV light. And those UV lights, the wavelength of the UV light is what actually determines whether or not it's cured properly or not. So a lot of people don't understand that. So if you're having different problems, the light can be too strong, it can be too weak, and that will affect the longevity and things. So you have a properly calibrated UV light to where it's actually curing it. And when it cures it, it does initiate what's called photo initiators. And what it does is really turning a liquid into a solid. So the printing method is you have white, then you have your CMYK, and then you get your varnish on top. After the varnish, it goes through a laminating film, and it's laminated right there. And then when it comes off, it's ready to go. So you'll get a sheet that looks similar like this. They have it where you can get the ones with the white background. Then they have the clear one that where it's sticky as well. So different kinds of film. And as sure as I'm telling you and teaching things, this market, this industry is changing. So you just making sure that we're staying abreast on the knowledge and what the current industry standards and trends are right now.
Nice. Okay,
Yep.
so Ramona says UV light like they use to process gel nails. I don't have any gel nails, but I'm assuming it's similar.
I don't either. It is similar. So if you see the actual machine, the machine going back, you'll see it just kind of literally flashing a blue UV light. Now the thing with UV light is if you were to take some of that liquid and kind of put it out in a cap and set it outside, you're going to get that same hardening. So that's why when you look at the UV machines, everything is black. So the container it's in is black, the tubing is black, the dampers are black, everything is there because you don't want any UV light at all getting onto those, interacting with those photo initiators before it's actually placed on the film.
Okay. All right. Wow.
Sense.
So just real quick on that then. So how is like maintenance and stuff? I remember some UV printers from many years ago, not for this type of thing, but for other processes. Do you have to like tint it in a light sensitive yellow tint or anything like that for maintenance? How does that work?
No, right now mine it's been relatively low maintenance. The one that we've been testing now for about the last 3-4 months. We've been the way we test it. I have a 3,000 square foot factory that is in with 20-foot ceilings, and I don't have any air conditioning. I have a big ass fan. That's the brand name.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not
yep, that's the brand name. We're good. I understand.
but it is,
Yeah.
But, that's in there. And we keep an eye on the temperature just so it doesn't get too out of hand. But we do a lot of stress testing on it.
Okay.
I've let this thing sit. I've let it sit for 2 weeks. I've come back, done a couple of cleanings. Print heads are firing good. I don't have any special tints or anything like that on it. I'm using right now the one that I prefer are it's the 16.5 inch one. You can get them in 24 inches, and then when you get the 24 inches, you're having to add different components to the machine. I like to keep things simple. So the ones that we're endorsing and we're standing behind are the 16.5 inch ones, and it just sits and it runs. Occasionally, if you're doing long print runs, if your environment is not right, your adhesive line, your varnish line will go out, and so you have to stop, do about 2 or 3 cleanings, and then it'll come right back. So it's not anything to where it's going to it's damaging the print head or anything like that. But we found that, and it's when it literally was like 90 degrees in my shop, which you should not ever run a machine in 90-degree heat. So
yes, indeed.
Or work in that environment.
Yeah.
or work, yeah. But the big ass fan, it feels a little cooler when you're up under it.
Yeah, it's okay. We got the big
Keep having flashes of when Aaron and I were in New Orleans, and
I can't say that anymore. You're gonna have to call them for some endorsements or something.
Exactly.
Aaron and I were in New Orleans one time, and there was actually a beer stand on the street that's called Big Ass Beer.
We walked right by it, Terry.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So Amy from Equipment Zone said, yes, it's the same light. Just don't put your fingers under the print head. Okay. But anyhow, all right, I don't want to digress. So, okay, Quinn, I want to talk about, like I said, I've been a user of the product, not of the printer, but of the finished product. And in fact, your friend and my friend Becky Kotzer made these with a UV technology, probably yours is my guess. And I put things on my suitcase, right? I wanted to see how it lasts. I've got one on the back of my car. So I've tried a lot of different places, but tell us kind of what are the substrates of choice? Are there things that we should be avoiding with this technology?
It's for most of the ones that are out there, you want to go hard surface, right? So you do have you have two type of UV. You have the hard UV inks and you have soft UV inks.
Okay.
A lot of people are not really getting into the soft UV inks now, but it's coming. So it's coming. I'm actually going over to China for about 3 weeks at the end of July to visit all the factories that I work with and to see some of the different technology firsthand. So our engineers can ask theirs and we can really get to the nuts and bolts of it. But to answer your question, hard surfaces. So like we play around. So this is just a 2x4.
Oh wow,
that's all it is. So a 2x4 here. We got this one right here. We sprayed some little spray on it, and then we just stuck it right on. And these things, they go on, they apply well, and they're going to be there. And that's wood. We've gone out, like dollar store. You go out, little baby bottle, print your kid's favorite stuff, and boop, sticks right on. And so you're talking about anything that's a hard surface, metal, the PVC, glass. So if you're decorating like your storefront, it can go on to that as well. So, anything hard surface, you're going to be good on.
Okay, all right. Well, it's actually done pretty well in my suitcase. I know that's not hard surface, but it's held up okay. But yes, it will. You can definitely see where it will wear off. Real quick, then on another follow-up question to that, you mentioned the bottles and the cups and I've seen some of the really cool stuff there. Any challenges with the ink from a safety perspective that we should be thinking about?
I have not seen any yet, but we haven't done any independent testing, so we're kind of reliant on the MSDS sheets that we're able to get from the Chinese suppliers and things. We are pushing a couple of them to see if we can get Okitech certified, because right now they use more of the certification from the Chinese certifications. So that's all the information we have right now. So on my visit over there, that is some things that we're going to be asking them for. I'm kind of a disruptor in the industry. I like to kind of push the norms and what people say can and cannot be done. So we'll see. But as of right now, there's no safety things that we're aware of. I haven't grown an extra arm or extra finger.
You look good. You look good.
Well, you certainly are getting your frequent flyer miles, because I know we had to squeeze this show in between a trip to Hawaii for work and your trip to China. So you're getting some miles.
The Hawaii was the build. It was almost like getting ready for a marathon. I'm just kind of
practicing.
We made that 9 hours in the air look easy compared to I think it'll be 16 from Detroit to Shanghai.
Oh my gosh.
Get a tailwind. So
Aaron and I have taken a few trips to Europe for work, and man, those are long trips. So Well, so Quentin, what do you think? Why do you think there's such a huge interest in this technology over the past year or so?
I mean, I think it's because people always love sublimation, right? But this is easier than the sublimation piece. Now, I don't have to have the oven. I don't have to have the right different press or the mug press to get it to 300 degrees. I don't have to worry about the ghosting and things like that nature. So you have, I think it's an avenue into that. It's relatively inexpensive. If you go to you get the right company, right partnerships, what have you, you can get one of these machines and you can get a return on your investment back within 6 months to possibly a year. And that's not far. Those aren't farce numbers. Those are like realistic numbers that you can do. Only thing you have to have is a plan and have some gumption, some go-to about yourself. So I think that's leading to a lot of why people are going to the industry. There's no dryer involved. Once it prints, boom, I'm done. The technology is a lot better now than it was 2.5 years ago. Like, when it was really starting to come out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just constantly getting better.
Yeah, interesting.
I love it.
Nice. Yeah, for sure. So Becky Kotzer says they have worked great on my coffee mugs and the back window of my vehicle. Yeah, so same. There you go, coffee mug.
I need to do a little testing here. It's going to be 110 degrees here this weekend. So
Quentin's applying one for us right now. So if you're watching if you're listening to the podcast version, make sure you come check out the video. It's pretty impressive that you can do that.
Right here.
Yeah.
And so, Quentin, how's this going to wash? I mean, is this a hand wash, or is
this I say hand wash. They tell you can do it in the dishwasher. I've had some that have done very, very well. I have some not so well.
I gotcha.
Yep. So I always just until we can do like some more. There you go.
Awesome.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
just like that.
Just some more tests. You see the little gloss, the little glow to it.
Yep.
And everybody loves a cat in a hat.
In a hat. Yeah.
For our podcast listeners.
With some boots. I think this is somebody's version of in one of the AI programs. Do Puss in Boots, and this is what you got. So
there you go.
But yeah, it's. I've had, like I said, I've had some that have washed well, and I've had some that didn't last too many washes. So I always tell people just hand wash it. Let the customers know that, because think you can't regulate how hot your dryer is going to get. You don't know your dishwasher.
Right.
Some are not so hot. Some are very hot. So
yeah,
that makes
cool.
sense.
Good stuff. All right, Quentin, we're going to take just a quick break here. I've got a little something I'd like to share with our listeners that my wife and I have been putting together, working on getting people signed up for. So we're going to do that. And then we'll get a couple comments from the regulars when we come back. And we've got more questions for you, Quentin. So thank you so much for all this amazing information so far. Eric, whenever you're ready.
Hi, I'm Kylene.
And I'm Aaron from our Success Group.
We understand that feeling of knowing something is holding you back.
Are you watching others succeed and wondering what they have that you don't? There's a secret locked away inside of each of us, yet we never think about fixing it because it has to be something external from ourselves. It is the limiting belief that everyone wants to just push aside and try to hustle and grind harder to get there. But the truth is, those limiting beliefs are keeping you from asking for help, from taking the next step, or doing the action needed to move your business forward.
The sooner you can identify what's holding you back, the sooner you will start achieving your goals. We make sure to provide a safe environment, free of judgment and full of support as you go through this process. We hope you make this investment in yourself and unlock your potential so you can find more meaning and success in your life.
All right. Well, thanks for giving me a moment to share that. We're really excited about the program. It's a great opportunity. You know, as Quentin had said earlier, you got to have a plan, right? You got to be able to move yourself forward as a business. So you can have the best equipment in the world, but if you're limited in your beliefs of can you do it, not going to happen. So we've got a program for you. osg.link/unlock. All right. Terry, real quick, let me get these regulators. They've got a couple of comments in here that I wanted to share before you get into the next question for Quentin. Rena Cooper says, I've used it for a pop of color on engraved awards. There you go. That's a really awesome idea. Becky said, great idea, Rena. And then Becky confirmed what Quentin had said. I tell everyone hand washing. However, my coffee mugs have been through the dishwasher at least once a week for 6 months plus. So again, it's super new, so everybody's still testing, but sounds like it's pretty darn good. I mean, we saw the application process there. That was pretty darn easy. Yeah.
Well, so speaking of, oddball items, so what are some unique items that you've decorated or you've seen decorated with this UV DTF, and maybe some things that people wouldn't necessarily think about decorating?
So I've seen, I'm doing something from Electric Ladders, a company. They actually do a lot of stuff for Toyota and things of that nature. So they have to have these big, tall ladders. And it was like, man, I've been using this. I've been using vinyl and all this. So he said, print me off some of those, Q. I said, okay, I got you. We print off some big, long ones. Those works. Golf carts. Golf cart is huge. With the golf.
I live in Arizona, man. It's there's one at every house.
I'm gonna tell you, if you got somebody in high school who just went around talking with people, we will decorate that, they would make a freaking killing. You would pay for your machine just decorating golf carts. I kid you not.
I love it.
I kid you not. You're looking at I know a place like Arizona, Las Vegas, anywhere who you have a lot of the food trucks. If you just take your transfer. How much you think these cost at a dollar store? Exactly. So you just get these right here. You go and you do the logo. You can put the logo right there on the cup. So now, as somebody's walking around and they're drinking, they actually have that company's logo, as opposed to right now they just have a blank one. So you can do different things like that. I have a partner of mine. He has a sorry, pulling that off there. There we go. So I have a partner of mine. He has an embroidery business, And with his embroidery business, he prints these onto acrylic, little thin pieces of acrylic, and they actually are put onto the hats. He's done them. Wow. He's done them with leather as well. Again, like if it's just your imagination. So if I go to Lowe's, I can get this thing right here for about 25 cents. And then if I go ahead and I put if I have a machine, I put about 1 cent's worth of transfer on there. So now I'm in this joker for 26 cents. And how much do you think I could sell this for?
Yeah.
So it's stupid amount of money if you get creative and just find your lane and drive the heck out of it.
Yeah.
I love it, Quentin, because you are clearly an idea guy, and that's who's successful in this industry.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I will say that Equipment Zone Vastex just created a powder shaker for single sheet DTF sheets, and they're custom making them in white for Equipment Zone. And guess what? It's the easy shake, and it's a UV DTF transfer that's labeling that machine now. So it is everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. All right. Well, Quentin, you already started breaking down a little bit for us, which was awesome. Kind of the idea of the different technologies available. You kind of said that, everything's pretty much the same, but maybe there's a few different bells and whistles. Maybe can you dig into that a little bit deeper? That kind of technology. You also mentioned the hard and the soft ink. So in any way you can kind of help us understand that a little bit better too.
Yeah. So the machines at their core, doesn't matter if it's DTF or DTF UV, the machines at their core, they're all the same, right? They're driven by the servo motors. I mean, you have essentially a lot of the design, the essential designs they're all copied and shared. That's just it, period. And it doesn't matter which one you're getting. Yeah. So when you start looking at the things that separate them apart, if you're dealing with a company who is not the actual manufacturer, it's very easy to save a little bit of money. All right, instead of using this pulley right here from Japan, I'm gonna go ahead and use this one from here. And so now you can start shortcutting there just to save a few dollars. And now you start to get some inferior type of products. If you're not careful with where you're buying your actual heads from, if they're not authentic heads, you can take the Epson i3200 E1, A1, and U1, and they all look identical. So if you don't know for sure that you're getting a U1 that is meant specifically for the UV printer, then guess what you're going to have? Problems. it ain't going to take long. So now you start getting into that. But they all have the step motors where they move the film at a certain amount. They all use the same UV light. Nothing's being created there. So when you start looking at, okay, what separates these printers, you're going to look at the support that you're going to get, the actual knowledge. Because a lot of the people, like what I'm finding, they may have the title of engineers, but they're not really truly engineers. So they have the printer, know how to put it together, and they know how to get it out there in the sales. But as quickly as you buy your UV printer, it's changing. So like right now, when we go to visit, we just had our 16.5. I've introduced a couple of ideas to them, and when I go there, they're gonna say, "Oh yeah, those were great, but we even got these." So I'm gonna see within 2 months, a printer that has already evolved. So what happens to your printer? If you don't have support, you're going to be tan in the wind, as they used to say back in the day. You're just going to be out there. So those are some things that before you get invested, please, it doesn't matter if you buy them direct from, one of the online sources or in someone with the US base, get you a good support group. They have to have
Yeah, I have been preaching that for years about DTG printing and then DTF printing. It all comes down to is there somebody that's going to be on the other end of the phone when you need some help? So 100% agree with what you're saying there. So what about integrating with other printing technologies? Is that there was Aaron mentioned an example already about was it trophies? Aaron,
yeah, like the engraved pop of color for engraved awards. Yep, trophies. Yep.
Yep. You can do that if you have some wood engraving, stuff like that. You can do those. Sublimation, it'll work good. So if you can imagine, if you took a cup that was just fully sublimated, and it was just grass. Now you can put a line on there, and it'll actually look like maybe it's actually coming out. So you can kind of get creative and do some things like that. But again, it's still so new. Once you get to the soft UV, I think you're going to have some different things that you have going on. So when I go, I'm visiting a factory. They're actually printing the DTF UV onto shoes, directly onto gym shoes. Yeah, so it just gets there. You get your platinum, shoot, it prints onto the gym shoes. So I'm curious about that, because if you're doing shoes, you know it's going to be certain things coming with some types of apparel coming next. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
And is that what soft? When you're talking about soft inks, is that for textiles?
Not necessarily for textile. They're just doing it on textile. It's meant for, like, if you just took a phone case, one of the bendable phone cases.
Oh, okay.
So if you put it on a hard phone case, you're going to be okay. But if you get one to where it bends and flex, it'll be good as long as you're not bending and flexing. The minute you bend and flex it, you're going to get those cracks. Now it'll come back together, but you will get those cracks.
I gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
interesting.
So Becky actually did something that was really cool, and I stole her idea. She actually put them on baseballs, which was pretty. That's pretty smart.
She's a smart lady.
Yeah, so, I mean, I just happened to call a couple of my guys who run the Little League baseballs around here, and I might make a few dollars. So
yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, she even put them on pens for us, right? So maybe promotional product ideas, shorter run promotional product opportunities. I mean, like you said earlier, I mean, I think it's your creativity is the only limitation that I'm running across so far personally.
Now with pens too, so like I should have. You have different types of UV machines, right? So you have your UV that are more roll to roll. You have your UV flatbeds. I actually have a UV flatbed coming next week that I'll begin to start testing. But those are the ones. The flatbeds are what you want to put your pens and your some of your golf balls and stuff like that on, because now you can take and you can just put them on there underneath a jig, and it just prints them.
Yeah, sure.
So like buttons and things of that nature. So they have different styles of UV printers that you can use depending on what if you want to print on signs, it prints signs directly. Do you want to do like mugs and tumblers, or do you want to do pens and things of that nature? So you'd have to just kind of pick which one you want to invest in.
That's awesome. Yeah, she actually had the transfers, just the little printed out transfers, and stuck that onto a pen.
Yeah, she has skills. I screwed mine up. I was that's why I said, hey, give me this flatbed,
man. So I guess we've seen it. Doug asked here, how are they applied? So you basically just put it on to a mug a little bit earlier. I don't know if you've got another that you could just show us real quick. So yeah, and I'm going to kind of talk through what you're doing, Quentin, for our podcast listeners. So he's pulled off. Yep.
All right. See this?
Yeah.
So this is sticky. This is sticky here.
Nice.
Right.
Okay.
And on the top side is what was laminated, and then it printed the white first, then the CMYK, and then the varnish. And there you go, Aaron. You can take it from there. Now I'll go ahead and apply it.
That's perfect. Right. Yeah. So I got a kind of a clear liner to it, and now he's sticking it right on directly onto the mug, and you line it up best you can there. And
upside down. Yeah, we're gonna do.
Yeah, upside down. You're pretty darn good, Quentin. You said you weren't good. It's a bear. It's an awesome bear. And so you're basically just kind of getting air bubbles out, getting it flat to the edge. Is that kind of what's happening there? Okay.
Yep. Because like what you do when you're doing it, you'll set it up with your RIP software. You'll set it up whether you're using your RIP software or like a Corel or Photoshop, wherever it is, Photoshop. So when you're setting it up, you have your white layer, but you have to tell it, hey, all right, white is W1, but I want you to add a W2 layer, and that's going to be my varnish. And I want you to go 2 pixels outside or 3 pixels outside of that. So now that's what's going to give you that coating to it where it won't be so easy to kind of peel up and chip. You gave yourself a couple of pixels out.
Oh, that's good.
Now, once you get that there, you start to peel.
Yeah.
Like this here. And you'll hear.
Yep.
There you go. And you
Peels
can see
right
on here, you can see. So this is still sticky. but you can see where it's not so sticky. It's not sticky at all. Now you just have just your B film, which is your laminator film, and your varnish on top.
That looks awesome.
And so that's now adhered to it. And so Doug, yes. So a transfer sheet. Absolutely.
Now, if I really wanted to get this thing off of here, I can really dig in and get it off. But you're going to have a lot of that adhesive residue, that's going to be behind and stuff like that. So they're pretty durable. But it's like the people who do the, hey, how's that DTF? Let me stretch the shit out this shirt. It's like, hey.
You just ripped the shirt.
Easy. Hulk Hogan. Yeah, it's like, but so if you want to get it off, you can get it off.
Yeah. If you really wanted to. All right.
Yeah.
Well, but it's pretty darn durable. I was kind of showing this earlier, and it's kind of covered up in my case here. But I've had this on the back of my phone case for at least 6 months, in and out of the pocket and stuff like that. And I mean, it doesn't look any worse than it looks about the same when I first put it on. So it's way more durable than I ever thought it would be personally. So, all right. Well, this has been awesome. I guess, Quentin, share with us. Okay. What advice might you give to a business who's saying, okay, this is really cool. I want to get into this. They want to add this printing to their wheelhouse for the first time. You talked about the support already, but what advice would you give somebody that's, kind of interested in this?
In any printer, just know you are, especially if you're a young entrepreneur, you're buying yourself a job, right? That's the term that's best used. You're buying yourself a job. So with this printer, do you have a clear-cut plan on how you're going to get a return on your investment?
Yeah.
Like what's that strategy? If you just go in just because you got a great credit score and you can get approved for it, that's not going to get it. So have that plan of action. Like, what are you going to go after? What is your current customer base right now? Who can you already sell to? So that way, your cost of acquisition is not high at all, because you're just reaching out to your existing customer base. So like you mentioned, most of yours are decorators anyway. So it's a very easy field to get into. And their customers are already there. I say, just be very honest with yourself as to, do I want to run a machine, or do I want to partner with somebody where I can get great direct-to-film transfers, UV transfers from, and just run my business that way. So now you're looking at your profits, depending on how you price. You're still going to make good money, but now you don't have the headache of maintaining the machine, getting it up, printing it, and what have you. So, and then of course, I keep going back to the support. The support. No matter who you're purchasing from, do you have that support? And
I love it.
Yeah.
It sounds like with the way this marketplace and these machines are changing, we're going to have you back on the show here, maybe in the fall, and give us an update if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure when I get back in August for my visit, I'm sure I'll have a lot of more information to share. So I'll be glad to come back.
We're going to reach out to you for sure about that. So Quentin, before we let you go, how can our listeners reach out to you? How can they find you?
Oh, just simple. They can go to worksdtf.com, and on the worksdtf.com site, they can just go down to the bottom and click on contact us. They can ask questions. They can sign up for any email list as I start sending out good information. Or again, if you do it there, you're going to get a call directly from me or from one of my engineers. We'll call you and make sure all your questions are answered. Because again, we want you to, no matter where you're getting it from, if you're making an investment, make the right investment.
Exactly. For our podcast listeners, that's worksdtf.com. So reach out to Quentin. Quentin, awesome. Thanks so much for coming on the show. It's been a great information and great interview with you today.
Hey man, I appreciate you guys' time, and let me talk to your listeners and your viewers.
Yeah,
right.
This is awesome, and definitely when you get back, reach out to us. Let's get you back on, get some updates on all this cool stuff, and safe travels to you.
Thank you.
I know you've been training for that marathon, but that's no joke.
We've even been practicing a little bit of Mandarin and stuff, so it's So
awesome, good for you.
I love it.
Yeah, practicing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's all good till you hear somebody talking. It's like Spanish. You're like, oh.
Hold on a second. Well, this has been awesome. Again, thank you so much, and we look forward to having you back on again soon, Quentin.
Right, absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks. All right, that was fantastic.
Awesome.
All right, Aaron, what do you have on your agenda?
Quote, you end user of. Oh, am I? Yeah. Okay.
You're back, I believe.
Okay, I am back. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Hey, you know what? This is what happens when you're on the road, right? Yeah. So really great information, Terry. I've been a end user, I guess you would call it, of this product for a while now, and yeah, it's really cool. But to understand how it works and all the details that he was able to share, and just the honesty about what it is that's going on, where things are at, right? I thought that was fantastic. So super appreciate Quentin joining us. Thanks, Becky, for recommending Quentin. Yeah, sure. And we're looking forward to hearing about his travels and safe return over there to China to kind of tell us what's next.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Terry, we've got some. As I'm on the road, so I'm going to keep it going. Unfortunately, it feels like I haven't been home in forever, but for me coming up here, I will be next after my trip down to Orlando for volleyball nationals with my son. I get back for a day and get on a plane and head to Graphics Pro Expo in Philadelphia. I just saw a thing, Terry, that they're going to have a pickleball court there. I've never played before, so this could be my first time.
I haven't been there, but there's a huge bar about a mile from my house now that is pickleball courts and food and drinks. So I have to go check it out.
Pickleball's all the rage. But anyhow, Graphics Pro Expo, I will be there teaching a seminar called How to Master Pricing for Profit. And that will be happening on July 11th. And it'll be 11 a.m. local time there in Philadelphia Eastern time. So get over to graphics-pro-expo.com to check it out. And I just announced kind of a soft announce where I've got a call with my friend that I'm doing this with, but we're doing a new program. It's limited to 6 seats. It's going to be an online Zoom masterclass, and we're calling it Achieve Greater Profit with Fewer Sales. And this is for action-oriented entrepreneurs who are willing to make changes in their business and also be willing to be compensated fairly for the value that you provide. So if you'll head over to oursuccessgroup.com/greater-profit, and you can check that out and be one of those lucky 6 that join us for that program. It'll be live September 5th is when that is happening. So look for more details or go over there to check it out and let me know if you have questions about it. We had the program earlier where my wife and I shared about unlocking your potential Breaking Barriers program. Becky said a little earlier, Breaking Barriers is an amazing program. I highly recommend it. She mentioned that in the comments earlier there. So thank you, Becky. But it's limited time here for our introductory price. We're about ready to change that. We've had enough feedback now and feel like we've got it in the right place. So if you are feeling like you're being held back and there's something got you stuck that you can't move forward and you just don't feel like your business is where you want it to be, there's a high likelihood that there's a limiting belief holding you back. I actually just went through the program myself this last week with some of the challenges that went on, and it allowed me to unlock some things that I get emotional even thinking about it still. That's how deep these things can get into you. So go to osg.link/unlock to check that out. And I think that's it for me, Terry, for right now. What about you? What's coming up on your schedule?
Well, my complete screen printing business course, I'm going to be in Chicago at Atlas Screen Supply on August 3rd and 4th. I'll be back here in Phoenix at Workhorse Products on August 24th and 25th. I'm going to be talking DTG and DTF printing at Impressions Expo in Fort Worth. That's going to be October 24th through 26th. And I'll be in the Equipment Zone booth at Printing United in Las Vegas, September 10th and 12th. And Aaron, you and I are going to be recording a live show there on the first day of the show. And watch for all my upcoming events at terrycombs.com.
Excellent. Hey, real quick, before I get to Eric's, Printing United, you mentioned that, Terry. And yeah, lots of cool stuff coming up there. Earlier in the show, Doug had asked, is the trade show in Las Vegas in September worth going to if I'm only doing heat press transfers? Do you want to field that first?
Yeah, I tell people all the time, and you have to go to that show at least once. Just to see the enormity of the industry, and man, it's going to generate so many ideas for you. So yeah, I mean, I certainly, Aaron, like yourself, I'm a huge proponent of trade shows, but yeah, I think it's certainly worth your while. And we had Ford on our show, the chairman of.
Yeah, I think so.
Chairman,
something like that. Yeah.
And when I said, you have to go to that show at least once, and he said, well, let me add, you need to go every year.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And like you said, I think it just gives you the breadth and kind of understand that we are part of a bigger picture. And so we're not just this little, kind of side industry, that we are a large industry with lots of really cool things happening. And then if you're looking for another reason to go, we got a message here from Quentin, says, my team and I will be in several booths at Printing United. So you can come meet Quentin face to face and ask him more questions. And yeah, I think it's going to be amazing. We're going to be doing a live podcast there. Maybe not a live broadcast because it doesn't fall on our normal time, but we're going to be there. I'm teaching a couple of seminars there. So I think this is going to be a great opportunity. And Las Vegas is such a fun place, so you can write off a little bit of fun. In fact, I think we're going to stay a couple extra days to celebrate my 50th birthday. So,
wow, nice.
Indeed. All right. So, as I mentioned before we got to Eric has got coming up today at 2:30 Mountain Time, the Take Up. And if you'll go over to ericcampbell.com, today's episode is the Take Up episode 194. Design analysis, dream big, plus office hours, FAQ, frequently asked questions. Eric's going to break down one of his most shared designs with some history, analysis, and construction techniques, as well as answer some of the latest frequently asked questions about lettering, underlay, and layers that folks have been asking him. And if you'll head over to ericcampbell.com, you can join in the fun and check out all the links for that there. Okay.
And speaking of Eric's going to be sharing a little secret sauce with us today.
Let's do that. Eric, you got to push your own buttons though, dude.
Hey folks, it's time for me to get on with the secret sauce. I've bailed out from a couple of my earlier commitments to be on the secret sauce, but finally, with everything calming down, we have some time to talk about something near and dear to my heart, even though it might sound like you might not need to think about it that much, and that is communicating color and embroidery. In print, it's easy to think about dealing with color and color management, but communicating color and embroidery is a little more difficult than it seems at first blush. All decoration methods have to deal with color management, but the effects of the different light sources on color perception, it's a little bit different with embroidery. There's also the reality that not everybody is fluent in the language of color. Let me tell you how many times somebody has given me something all the way from purple to processed blue and called it royal. Those numbers are more important than the names, and we know that. However, embroidery can make things even a little more difficult because thread's natural sheen and the variation reflection makes it difficult for color matching and communicating colors with clients. To the end of making it simpler, let's set out some simple tips to help you match and manage color with skill. Number one, have customers and do any color matching or selection in the thread. It can be exceedingly difficult to communicate color accurately through digital images in general, but it's even more difficult with the dimensionality of embroidery. So whenever it's possible, have customers judge color selections or judge color matches on intake. When you are dealing with a customer, especially if you have the great fortune of having them in your shop, have them look at things in the thread while you're there. Have them sign off on real thread samples of their designs whenever possible. And whenever you're showing a digital preview, always caption that preview with color accuracy may not be 100%. One never knows how a screen is adjusted in someone's viewing environment, and we don't know what they're going to think about what's going on their screen, on their laptop screen, on their desktop screen, or on their phones. So even with a photograph, even if you have something in that photograph that is supposed to help them gauge color, the best way to have them judge whenever possible is in the thread. And sometimes that even means sending samples to clients if the job is big enough and important enough. Secondly, get things lit appropriately. I don't mean get yourself lit, but hey, whatever you do at the trade shows after hours is between you and your customers. What I do mean is you need to use appropriate lighting when you're matching colors. Specific lighting made for color matching is less expensive than it has ever been. And frankly, it's great for all decoration methods. But if you don't have the means or you need to match in a pinch or on site, color match lighting is usually trying to emulate sunlight at noon. So unless it's a stormy day, getting out under natural light in the middle of your shift can be a really great help in seeing colors as they are. Matching or judging colors under excessively warm or cool or colored light can massively distort their appearance. Third, use color cards. But what I am going to say after this, yes, those color cards are wonderful that come from our favorite thread manufacturers. You may think about sampling designs yourself, like I said, for especially picky clients, or wrapping. And one of the methods I really have enjoyed using over the years is wrapping on small wooden spools or small spools so you get a little bit more curvature so you can see the full essence of that satin stitch look where we have a raised set of stitches that are shiny at the high point and fall off to shadow because it makes an easier way to see how that thread's going to look, especially with satin stitches and text. Consider sampling and dealing with those picky customers, using more than one color selection, showing them more than one option, or like I said, wrapping the thread under small sampling spools or sending small samples out to customers. The small spools do give you that wider rounded look and it more emulates the satin stitch column, but frankly, sometimes a sample is the only way to get that final color match. If it's hundreds upon hundreds or thousands of garments, you really need to think, how much is that sample really costing you? And is it worthwhile to send that out, especially when you're dealing with something that is difficult, tonal, or when you're dealing with brand new color variations that weren't there in the original art? Remember, also, depending on the angle of a satin stitch or the stitch type, the perception of color can change vastly, especially you take a 90-degree turn on a shiny standard polyester thread on a satin stitch, and the colors vary wildly. We use that specifically in designs to make color variation, but remember that's also going to change the perception when the customer's looking at that match. So take that into account when you're visualizing your proposed design and when you're making selections or matches. Next, don't forget the garment. The color on which the design is viewed can wildly change the viewer's perception. Always remember the garment color when you're making selections and creating previews. What looks good on white may not look right on pink, safety yellow, or electric blue. Whatever those samples are going to be on, whatever that garment's going to be, the best thing you can do is to try and visualize your colors on that base color. Also, and hey, I know this is hard to admit, folks, but get a second opinion. Don't be too proud for it. If you happen to have a color deficiency or a deficient in taste, it's never wrong to ask somebody else with a better artistic bent for help. Most of what we do will be color matching existing art. When you're forced to create your own colorways, we can become formulaic if you don't consult others. And those of us, particularly the male persuasion, who may have some color deficiencies, likely in the red-green spectrum, it does a good job to use adaptive tools. Viewing things through a red gel can help you judge colors apart if you have a range that's a little bit weak. And also, just consult with someone who has better color vision than you if you're doing color selection and you feel like you're getting lost. There's nothing wrong with doing it. And by the way, you just definitely don't want to provide the customer with a weird color match because you've got something going on with your own perception. Also, I cannot say this enough, last but not least, never run without real approval. No matter what they say, no matter how they swear it'll be fine, no matter how much they trust you or your taste, make customers approve some version of a preview and sign off on color substitutions. When a customer will tell me, just pick something cool. I like your style. I trust you. I will often tell them a color I know will give them pause and see how quickly they develop an opinion on color. Turns out not everybody wants fluorescent orange on everything. Suddenly we all have an opinion on the right colors to use once I start bringing out the oranges, pinks, and safety greens. The truth of the matter is I'm not trying to harass my customer, but I do want them to understand that the ultimate choice about their branding is with them. And though I can help them get a tint or a tone or a shade and work with the garment, they do need to choose color, and you don't want to be replacing a bunch of garments because the text drop you just put under it is in entirely the wrong shade and everybody's angry when they open the box. In the end, the process doesn't need to be overthought. We simply have to take care and remember that color is subjective. And some of these things we can do to prepare ourselves will ensure the best outcome. Use good light, keep the sheen and the nature of embroidery thread in mind, and make sure the garment color is firmly in that preview stage, and you'll choose well. Once that is done, just communicate clearly with your customer, make them judge in the thread wherever possible, and never run without that signature. And that is my secret sauce.
Awesome. Delicious.
I think everybody does love fluorescent orange, but hey,
yeah.
That's my opinion.
Oh wait, is that because is your shirt fluorescent orange, or is that the Terry?
You know, maybe it might be. Now that you mention it.
Yeah. Well, Michelle said, "Great advice, Eric," and I popped that up on screen
as always
in front of Eric. I was pushing buttons, so probably made him. We've come to. Did I drop out there? Sorry.
You did, but all good.
Okay, let me try again. So we have come to the close of another show. We want to thank Quentin Smith for his time and his knowledge and sharing that with us on UV DTF transfers. Really across the board, you just reach out to Quentin there at what was it? Works WORX, right? DTF.com.
DTF. Exactly.
Awesome. Make sure you reach out to him and get that. There you go. Thank you, Eric. WORXDTF.com. So thanks again, Quentin. We appreciate you being here.
All right. And we also want to thank our show producer, Eric Campbell, for pushing all the buttons and popping things up when we just whimsically say, mention something. Eric will get it up on the screen, and also for doing Secret Sauce today.
Yeah, great secret sauce for sure, Eric. Thank you very much, and appreciate that. All right, well, next week, Terry, we've got Michelle Moxley, and she's going to be joining us on the show to discuss AI and apparel embellishment, and we're going to dig into some AI. So we go from one of the most talked about things in UV DTF to the next most talked about thing, AI, and hey, that's what we got to do to stay relevant here. So we're excited. Michelle is a really smart person, and we can't wait to talk to her next week. So make sure you're tuned in for that.
Michelle has been on the show with us before. It's been a couple of years, though, I think, Aaron.
Yeah,
so.
I think you're right. Yep.
All right. Until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery.
And that was the Two Regular Guys.
Here we go. We're out.
Awesome.
Thank you for listening to Two Regular Guys. Check out our website at tworegularguys.com. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/tworegularguys, or send us a tweet, twitter.com/tworegularguys. And we have a YouTube page. You can find all that from our website, tworegularguys.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to spending some time with you again next week.